If the doctor you sued actually admits that he screwed up and caused you harm, what happens to your case? What happens next? You want to know the answer? Come join me for a moment as I share with you some great information. Hi, I'm Gerry Oginski. I'm a New York medical malpractice and personal injury attorney. All right, so you brought a lawsuit against your doctor claiming that he was careless, causing you significant harm and injury. And you know from watching my videos, you know from reading information online, that these doctors and the hospital staff never, ever admit they did anything wrong. They never acknowledge what they did, right? Because they know that the moment they acknowledge it and admit it, now it's bad news for them. Now it's simply a matter of, okay, pay me my compensation. How much is my case worth? That's really what this is about, isn't it? You're trying to obtain money as a form of compensation for all of the harms and losses and damages that you incurred. But you know from reading and watching and learning online, as well as other places, that the doctors in New York will never, ever actually go ahead and admit and take responsibility for their actions. So now, what happens in the unlikely event that a doctor, after being sued, turns around and says, you know what? Yes, I agree, I did screw up. I agree, I was careless. I'm sorry about that. And I agree that that carelessness was, in fact, a cause of your injuries. You know what happens next? Well, now we've eliminated two-thirds. 1, 2, 3, nope, two-thirds. 2 out of 3 elements that we need to show that you're entitled to a verdict in your favor. Because when you bring a lawsuit against your doctor, we have to show, number 1, that he violated the basic standards of medical care. Number 2, we have to show that those violations, that wrongdoing, was a cause of your injury. Those are the first 2 things that we have to show, and we do that with medical experts. And what's the third thing? We have to show that your injuries are significant and or permanent. All 3 of those things have to be there and have to be confirmed by a medical expert who has reviewed all of your records or has treated you. So now, if a doctor goes ahead and actually admits that he screwed up, well, that eliminates, number 1, that we have to show that he violated the standard of care. Okay, so if we don't have to show liability, that he violated the standard of care, what's next? We have to show that that wrongdoing was a cause of your injury. And if the doctor turns around and says, yes, my carelessness did in fact cause you harm and injury, well, what does that mean? It means we've now eliminated the first 2 elements we need to prove your case. Terrific. So what's next? Well, now we have to address the damages. We have to address your injuries. How badly injured are you? How badly disabled are you? How permanent is your condition? In almost every case, the defense refuses to acknowledge and accept our version of what your injuries are worth. No matter what we tell them, they come back and say, absolutely not. Your injuries are not as bad as you claim them to be. In which case, you now have a conflict, right? You now have an issue that has to be decided. Because if the parties cannot come together and reach a reasonable conclusion about the value of your injuries, guess what? Now we have to go to trial on the issue of what? Not on wrongdoing to determine if the doctor's wrong, not to determine if his wrongdoing caused you harm. That has already been admitted. So the only thing left to consider is the value of your injuries. How much money are you going to receive as a result of the doctor's carelessness? Now, if the case does go all the way to trial and we cannot resolve it beforehand, the jury will be told that they are, in fact, to give you money. That this is a trial solely to determine how much money you are to receive. We call this a trial on damages. And typically, on a trial on damages, we bring in your treating doctors to go ahead and explain to the jury what problems you have now. What things can you do? What things are you unable to do? As well as you getting up to testify, as well as some other witnesses to go ahead and confirm all the problems that you're having. In that instance, now the jury is going to assess and evaluate how much money you are to receive. So why do I share this great information with you? I share it with you because I get this question from time to time, and even though it does not happen often, it's still important to understand in the unlikely event it does occur, where the doctor admits, yes, I screwed up, and yes, it did cause you harm and injury. Well, now you go to a trial on damages. You know, I realize you have questions or concerns about your own matter. Well, if your matter did happen here in New York and you have not yet started a lawsuit and are thinking about bringing a case, what I invite you to do is pick up the phone and call me. You know I answer questions like yours every single day, and I'd love to chat with you. You can reach me at 516-487-8207 or by email at Gerry, Gerry, at Oginski-law.com. That's it for today's video. I'm Gerry Oginski. Have a wonderful day.